Hello, everybody. Welcome to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman, and I talk about all things horror. Today, we are going way deep into the weeds, and we're talking about a type of movie I have never covered on this channel before. We're talking about a Bollywood horror movie. But it's not just any Bollywood horror movie. This is the Bollywood movie of all Bollywood movies. This is the Bollywood take on A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you're not familiar with Bollywood, it's essentially Indian cinema from the country India. So, it's a combination horror movie, combination comedy, but not horror comedy. It's like horror when it's supposed to be horror, comedy when it's supposed to be comedy. And it's also a combination musical theater. So it's three movies in one. And it's not a horror comedy musical. It is, when it's a horror movie, it's a horror movie. When it's a comedy, it's a comedy. And when it's a musical, it is a musical. They do not intersect. There's no comedy in the musical number. There's no there's no horror in the musical number. There's no music in the comedy. They're segmented, which is unfamiliar to American audiences. Now, I do not have enough experience with Bollywood cinema to be able to tell you if this is a staple of the genre or not. My favorite movie of all time is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And so when I learned there was a Bollywood Freddy Krueger movie, I had to see it. So I did. So here's where I am. I'm not going to tell you the play-by-play on the plot because it's A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've already told you to watch that movie, so by now you should already have the DVD or Blu-ray or Laserdisc in your collection. You don't need me to tell you the play-by-play because this is A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you've seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, you've already seen the horror parts of this movie, more or less. I say more or less because they take some liberties. But it's essentially the same movie. I'm not going to talk about the comedy because comedy is subjective and you need to see it yourself to determine if it's funny or not. And I'm definitely not going to talk about the musical numbers because they're all in, I believe, Hindi. They're not in English. This movie is not in English, by the way. It is subtitled. So I can't really comment on the themes of the musical numbers or if they're engaging or good quality or anything like that. I'll say this: they're catchy. I'll give them that. They're absolutely catchy and danceable. So that's reasonable. So why am I talking about this movie? And to back that up, am I going to talk about other Bollywood horror movies? Well, the answer to the first question, why am I talking about it? Because this is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite movie of all time. Freddy Krueger is my favorite horror villain of all time. So this movie is one that interests me. Yes, I do have this on DVD. And yes, I do recommend it. This is a buy. With a caveat. If you already like A Nightmare on Elm Street and you're looking for more Freddy Krueger. Now, he's not really Freddy Krueger. I have to tell you that right now. They do change his backstory a little bit. He's Mahakaal. Mahakaal. I do not want to get into the specifics of the religion because I am not qualified. But I believe he's a sort of demon or devil type creature in this movie, or character in this movie, from what I read online. So I don't think he's a serial killer who died and came back to life. I think he's an actual evil spirit. But don't quote me on that because this movie's subtitles. And I only watched it the once, and I wasn't like 100% engaged because it's subtitles. So I watched it. I was entertained, but I wasn't reading every little thing that was coming across the screen because it's just too goddamn much for me. I do not watch foreign films with subtitles because of that reason. I just can't pay attention. I can't follow along what's happening in the movie and read the script at the same time. I can't do it. Give me a book, I'll read the book. So there you go. I still think this movie is fun and worth checking out. Now, to answer that second question, am I going to talk about other Bollywood movies on this channel? In case you're curious, the answer is not likely, but it's not an emphatic no. It's not a firm no. It's a probably not, but who knows? I can't say yes or no. If another one if there's a Bollywood Friday the 13th or Gremlins, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. It just depends. That being said, this is an okay movie. This is a fun movie. If you already like A Nightmare on Elm Street. And if you happen to like musical theater, which I do. So, the singing and the dancing and the choreography works for me. So there you go. Stay cool.